How are you guys doing? Today is Saturday, May 14th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I'm going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Friday, May 13th, and of course, I'm going to preview everything that's going on today as we navigate through the world of sports one day at a time. Taking a quick step back and looking at where we are right now in the NBA playoffs following yesterday's matchups. There are now 6 teams that are left competing in this NBA playoff bracket, as 2 of the series are now going to Game 7, and they will be played this weekend. They'll be taking place tomorrow. Taking a look at what's going on in the NHL. Following yesterday's NHL matchups, there are now 13 teams left competing in the Stanley Cup Final, as there are still 5 series that are completely up for grabs. Taking a look at what's going on with the MLB, of course, we are in about the second month of the season as teams are starting to seed themselves out for the long run. Taking a look at what's going on with soccer, we are in the finishing stage of a lot of seasons, not to mention we have of course, historic soccer games today as well. Taking a look first at what's going on with the NBA playoffs, as it is in the second round. Coming in, there were 7 teams left, as going in, the only team that had been eliminated was the Philadelphia 76ers. The second team that would be eliminated from the playoffs this year would be the Memphis Grizzlies. But before them, the 3-seed Milwaukee Bucks hosted the 2-seed Boston Celtics. Coming into that matchup, the Bucks held a 3-2 series lead. This would come after the Bucks had won Game 5. They won Game 5 in Boston by 3, and Boston would go on to win in Milwaukee by 13 in Game 6. Just looking at how this would pan out, the Celtics ended up outscoring the Bucks by 10 in the first half, by 8 in the first quarter. On the losing end of the first half, on this losing end of this whole matchup, the defending champ 3-seed Milwaukee Bucks were led in scoring by their elite starting center Giannis Antetokounmpo. Their elite starting forward out of Greece would go on to finish with 14 points. He would also go on to finish with 20 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, 2 blocks, and 6 turnovers, all in 41 minutes. He would go on to shoot 14 for 30 from the field, 2 for 3 from 3, and 14 for 15 from the foul line. And then, of course, in their starting lineup, their starting point guard, Jrue Holiday, would go on to finish with 17 points and 3 steals, as well as 2 blocks in 42 minutes, as he shot 7 for 17 from the field. And of course, on the bench of the Bucks, their shooting guard Pat Connaughton would go on to finish with 14 points, all in 33 minutes. On the winning end of this matchup, the 2-seed Boston Celtics were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward out of Duke, Jason Tatum. Their starting small forward from St. Louis, Missouri, finished with 46 points, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists in 43 minutes. Jason Tatum shot 17 for 32 from the field, 7 for 15 from 3. He would shoot 5 for 7 from the free throw line as well. Their starting shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, finished with 22 points and 5 rebounds in 41 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and 4 for 7 from the free throw line. Their starting point guard, Marcus Smart, finished with 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists in 40 minutes. He shot 8 for 16 from the field and 5 for 9 from 3. With the win in this matchup, the Boston Celtics have now evened the series up at 3. And because they are the 2 seed, they are the team with the home court advantage. This is where they get to play that home court advantage. They will host the Milwaukee Bucks tomorrow night for Game 7 on ABC. And of course, with this series being tied at 3, the winner of Game 7 will advance to the Eastern Conference Finals to face off against the 1-seed Miami Heat, who had beaten the 4-seed 76ers in 6 in this round. Taking a look at the second game that took place yesterday, the Golden State Warriors, the 3-seed in the West, would be the second team to advance to the conference final round. They would go on to host the 2nd-seed Memphis Grizzlies. Coming in, the Warriors would hold a 3-2 series lead after they had seen the Grizzlies win by 39 in game 5. They would go on to beat the Grizzlies back. They won it 110-96 in front of their hometown fans after they would outscore the Grizzlies by 13 points in the fourth quarter. So it was that fourth quarter that really allowed them to get that separation. On the losing end of this matchup in their final game of the 2021-22 season, the 2-seed Memphis Grizzlies were led in scoring by their starting small forward out of Oregon, Dylan Brooks. He finished with 30 points and 3 steals, as well as 4 rebounds in 39 minutes. He shot 11 for 28 from the field, 7 for 15 from 3, and he shot 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Their starting shooting guard, Desmond Bane, finished with 25 points and 7 rebounds in 44 minutes. He shot 9 for 16 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. And then on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown 3-seed Golden State Warriors were led in scoring by their elite starting shooting guard, Klay Thompson. He would go on to finish with 30 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and 3 blocks in 42 minutes. He shot 11 for 22 from the field and 8 for 14 from 3. Their goated starting point guard, the NBA's all-time three-point leader, Stephen Curry, finished with 29 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks in 40 minutes. He shot 10 for 27 from the field, 6 for 17 from 3, and he shot 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Their starting small forward, their all-star Andrew Wiggins, finished with 18 points and 11 rebounds alongside 3 blocks in 41 minutes. He shot 7 for 16 from the field, 3 for 5 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Their all-star starting power forward, Draymond Green, finished with 14 points, 15 rebounds, and 8 assists in 39 minutes. He shot 6 for 14 from the field, and he made both of his free throws. Their shooting guard off the bench, Jordan Poole, finished with 12 points in 24 minutes. He shot 4 for 15 from the field and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. With this win, the 3-seed Golden State Warriors have now won this series in 6 games. They won it 4-2. They have eliminated the Memphis Grizzlies from the playoffs, as they are the first of the 2 available teams that will advance to the conference finals. They will face off against the winner between the top seed Phoenix Suns and Dallas Mavericks, as it will be played tomorrow. But that is what's going on. That's what happened yesterday, and there's no NBA today, as of course the NBA playoffs will continue tomorrow. Taking a look now at what happened in the NHL Stanley Cup. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, starting off in Pittsburgh, the 3-seed in the Metropolitan Division Pittsburgh Penguins hosted the 2-seed New York Rangers. Coming into this matchup, the Penguins were leading the series 3-2 after they had seen the Rangers win Game 5. The Rangers would win Game 6 to even it up after they were trailing 3-1. In this matchup, the Penguins would score the first 2 goals in the game, the only 2 goals in the first period. The Rangers would take the lead in the second period from a Chris Kreider power play goal. Evgeny Malkin would tie it up for the Penguins. The Rangers would score 2 unanswered in the third period, first of them from Chris Kreider and the second from Andrew Kopp. With this win, or I guess looking first at the stars who were named, the top star of this game was given to Chris Kreider, the left winger for the New York Rangers, as he had 2 goals for himself. The Rangers center, Mika Zibanejad, would finish with 2 goals and 2 assists, as he had the second star of the night. The third star of the night went to Pittsburgh center, Evgeny Malkin. With this Rangers win, they have forced a Game 7, and they will host Game 7 in Madison Square Garden in TBS at 5:15, as they are getting ready to face off against the Penguins for a chance to advance to the next round, to face off against the winner between the Carolina Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins, as that series is going to a Game 7 as well. So both of these teams are still looking on. Looking at the second matchup that took place in Washington, D.C., the Washington Capitals, the second wildcard seed in the East, would host the Florida Panthers, the team who had the best record in the NHL this year, I guess in the table. The Florida Panthers would go on to eliminate the Washington Capitals in 6 games, as they were the first team out of the East to advance to the second round, as every other Eastern Conference team is advancing to a Game 7. In this matchup, within this particular matchup that took place in DC, this game would actually end up going into overtime, as the winning goal was scored by Carter Verhaeghe. But of course, the Washington Capitals, scored the first goal, and they even took the 2-1 lead. And of course, it would be back and forth. But that Carter Verhaeghe goal, 2.5 minutes in, would be what clinched it for the the Florida Panthers in this game. So in this matchup, the top star went to Carter Verhaeghe, the left winger for the Florida Panthers. He had a goal and an assist. The second star went to Alexander Barkov, their Florida center, as he had a goal. Their right in the Washington Capitals right winger TJ Oshie would go on to finish with a goal, as he had the third star of the game in what would be the Washington Capitals' final game of the 2021-22 season. They are the third team that has been eliminated, which means there are 13 teams left out of the original 16 that are competing. But of course, following that matchup, that would lead to the third game 6 of the night, as the Dallas Stars, who would come in as the first wildcard seed in the West, would host the Calgary Flames, who are the number 1 seed out of the Pacific Division. Coming in, the Calgary Flames were leading 3-2 after they had won games 4 and 5 to tie and take the lead. The Stars would go on to win this final game 4-2, as Dallas would go on to score the first goal of the game. And then, of course, following this first goal of the game, the Calgary Flames would get a lead, go up 2-1, but then the Dallas Stars 2 consecutive goals from Miro Heiskanen to give them the lead, and then Tyler Seguin to, of course, run away with it. The Flames tied it. They didn't take the lead. They would tie it at 2. The Stars would take the lead off of the Heiskanen goal and then run away with it for the Tyler Seguin goal, as they would tie it up and force Game 7 in Calgary. The top star of this game went to Jake Oettinger. Dallas's goalie would finish with 36 saves on the night, as he only allowed 2 goals. The second star of the game went to Jacob Markstrom, Calgary's goalie, as he would have 36 saves as well. He would go on to only allow 4 goals on the night. Dallas's their defender, Miro Heiskanen, would finish with the third star of the night, as he had a goal. So with this win, the Stars have forced Game 7. It will be played in Calgary tomorrow on ESPN2. The winner of this matchup will advance to face off against the winner between the Edmonton Oilers and the LA Kings, as that series is going to Game 7 as well. Taking a look at what is going on today in the NHL, the very first matchup that is going to be taking place today will be Game 7 in the Eastern Conference between the 2 seed in the Atlantic Division, the Maple Leafs, and the 3 seed Tampa Bay Lightning, as the Maple Leafs are exercising their home ice advantage. With the win here, they will face off against the 1 seed Florida Panthers after the Panthers beat the second wildcard seed Capitals in 6 games. That's the second matchup of the day. The first matchup is going to be between the Carolina Hurricanes, the 1 seed in the Metropolitan Division, and the Boston Bruins, who are the top wildcard seed in the East. The winner of this matchup will face off against the winner of the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins, as that series has gone on to Game 7. The last game of the night will be at 10 o'clock on ESPN. It will be Game 7 between the 2 seed Edmonton Oilers of the Pacific and the 3 seed LA Kings, as the Edmonton Oilers are going to be the team that are exercising home ice advantage. The winner of this matchup will face off against the winner between the 1 seed Calgary Flames and the top wildcard seed in the West, the Dallas Stars. That is what playoff hockey is looking like as of right now. There are 13 teams that are left in this round. By the end of today, there will be 10. No matter how it ends up, the winners of today's games will be the teams that advance. Taking a look at what's going on with baseball, looking at yesterday's matchup, starting off in Pittsburgh, the Pirates went on to host the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds would go on to, of course, after the Pirates scored the first run of the game, the Reds would take the lead in the third. And after the Reds scored their second run to tie the game up, the Reds would score 6 unanswered right after that. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Pittsburgh Pirates saw the loss go to their starting pitcher in this matchup. The loss went to Mitch Keller. Keller allowed 5 earned runs off of 5 hits and 4.2 innings pitched. He struck out 2 batters and he walked 2. With his loss, he's 0-5. In the Pirates batting lineup, their left fielder Ben Gamel went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 3rd home run of the year. Their designated hitter, Daniel Vogelbach, went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the Cincinnati Reds saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Tyler Mahle. Mahle allowed 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 8 batters and walked 1. With his win, he's now 2-4. In the Reds batting lineup, their second baseman, Brandon Drury, went 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a run. Their third baseman, Mike Moustakas, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he had his second and third home runs of the year. Their designated hitter, Tyler Naquin, went 3 for 4 with 2 runs as well. With this win, the Cincinnati Reds are now 9-24. That is currently the worst record in the National League Central. They've now won their last 3 games, and they've won 6 of their last 10. They are still sitting 12 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers at this moment in the season. And with this win, they are still the only team left in the National League and the only team left in the majors that has a single-digit amount of wins. With this loss, the Pittsburgh Pirates are 13-19. That is the third best record in the NL Central. They've now lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 6.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look at what happened in Miami, speaking of the Brewers would beat the Marlins 2-1 off of a 9th-inning run thanks to a walk forced by Jace Peterson. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Marlins would be led out by Pablo Lopez. Lopez would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in 7 innings pitched. He struck out 11 batters. The loss would end up going to the Marlins setup relief pitcher, Tanner Scott. He would not get a single out in the 9th inning as he allowed a run off 2 hits. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Marlins batting lineup, nobody on their team had more than 1 hit, as their first baseman, Jesus Aguilar's 4th home run of the season was their lone run of the game. On the winning end of this matchup, the Milwaukee Brewers were led out by the reigning National League Cy Young winner, Corbin Burnes. He allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 7 batters. The win went to the Brewers' first relief pitcher of the day, their elite setup relief pitcher Devin Williams. He allowed no earned runs in the 8th as he struck out 2. With this win, Devin Williams is 2-0. The save went to the Brewers' elite closer Josh Hader. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning, and with this save, he now has 13 on the year. In the Brewers' batting lineup, nobody on their team had more than 1 hit. Their second baseman, Colton Wong, would go 1 for 4 as he had his 2nd home run of the year. With this win, the Milwaukee Brewers are 21-12. That is the best record in the National League Central. They are tied with the San Diego Padres for the 3rd best record in the National League, behind the Mets and the Dodgers. They've won 6 of their last 10. They are sitting 3.5 games ahead of the second place St. Louis Cardinals within their division. With this loss, the Miami Marlins are 14-18. That is the 4th best record in the National League East. They've lost 8 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 7 games behind the division-leading New York Mets at this moment. Taking a look at what is going on in our nation's capital, in D.C., the Nationals hosted the Houston Astros. The Astros would beat the Nationals 6-1 as they scored 5 runs in the first inning, pretty much just taking control of this game from the very beginning. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Nationals were led out by their starting pitcher, Josiah Gray. Josiah Gray would allow 6 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 2. With his loss, he's now 4-3. In the Nationals batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, Nelson Cruz, would end up going 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the Houston Astros would be led out by their starting pitcher, Framber Valdez. Valdez would pick up his 2nd win of the season as he allowed 1 earned run off of 7 hits in the 7.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 2. With this win, Framber Valdez is 2-2. In the Astros batting lineup, their left fielder, Yordan Alvarez, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He would go on to hit his 11th home run of the season. And, of course, taking a look at where the Astros are with this win, they are now 22-11. And before I get to that, actually, their elite second baseman, Jose Altuve, went 1 for 4 with an RBI and a run. He now has 6 home runs on the year. With this win, the Houston Astros are now 22-11. That is the best record in the American League West. They have now won their last 11 games of the season. Their 11-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the major leagues. They are currently, at this moment, sitting half a game ahead of the second-place Los Angeles Angels in their division. They're holding on to the 2nd best record in the American League. Only the New York Yankees have a better record than the Angels, or than the Astros, win percentage-wise. With this loss, the Washington Nationals are 11-23. That is the worst record in the National League East. It is the second worst record in the National League. Only the Reds have a worse record in the league. The Nationals have lost their last 2 games. They've lost 7 of their last 10. They are sitting 11 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. Taking a look at what happened in Detroit, the Tigers, who come in with the worst record in the American League, hosted the Baltimore Orioles. The Tigers would beat the Orioles 4-2 as they became the second-to-last team to hit 10 wins this year. On the losing end of this matchup, the Baltimore Orioles would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Jordan Lyles. Jordan Lyles would allow 4 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 3. With this loss, he's now 2-3. And in this Orioles batting lineup, their center fielder, Cedric Mullins, would end up going 2 for 5. And, of course, on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Detroit Tigers would see the win go to their starting pitcher, Eduardo Rodriguez. Rodriguez allowed no earned runs off of 5 hits in 6.2 innings. He would strike out 3 batters and walk 4. With this win, he's now 1-2. The save would go to the Tigers' closer for the day, Will Vest. Vest allowed no earned runs in the last 0.2 innings of the game as he struck out 2 batters, the 2 outs he needed to get. He picked up his first save of the year. In the Tigers' batting lineup, their future Hall of Fame designated hitter Miguel Cabrera would end up going 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his second home run of the season. Their first baseman, Spencer Torkelson, went 2 for 3 with an RBI. With this win, the Detroit Tigers are now 10-23. That is the worst record in the American League Central. They've won 2 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 9 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. With this loss, the Baltimore Orioles are 14-19. That is the 4th best record in the American League East as they've lost 4 of their last 10. They are sitting 10.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. Taking a look at what happened in Queens, the New York Mets hosted the Seattle Mariners, and the Mariners would end up beating the Mets 2-1. The Mets scored the first run of the game. The Mariners, of course, tied it in the 4th, but they would take the lead in the top of the 8th off of an RBI single from Ty France. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown New York Mets would be led out by their go-to starting pitcher, Max Scherzer. Scherzer allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 6 batters and walk 2. The loss would end up going to the Mets' first relief pitcher, Drew Smith. Drew Smith allowed 1 earned run off of 1 hit in the 8th inning he pitched as he struck out 2 batters and walked 2. With this loss, he's now 0-1. In the Mets batting lineup, their center fielder, Brandon Nimmo, went 2 for 3 with a run. And on the winning end of this matchup, the Seattle Mariners saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Michael Gonzalez. Gonzalez allowed 1 earned run off of 5 hits in the 6.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 3. The win would end up going to the Mariners' first relief pitcher, Paul Sewald. Sewald would allow no earned runs as he finished off the 7th inning and pitched the entire 8th. He would strike out 2 batters, and with this win, he's now 2-1. The save would go to the Mariners' closer, Drew Steckenrider. Steckenrider would allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he picked up his second save of the season. In the Mariners' batting lineup, nobody on their team would finish with more than 1 hit. However, their first baseman, Ty France, and their left fielder, Jesse Winker, would have the team's 2 RBIs. With this win, the Seattle Mariners are 15-18. That is the 3rd best record in the American League West. They've won 3 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 7 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros. With this loss, the New York Mets are 22-12. That is the best record in the National League East. They are currently holding on to the best record in the National League win percentage wise. Right now, the only teams with a better record than the Mets win percentage wise are the Astros and the Yankees. The Mets they've lost 4 of their last 10. They are sitting 5.5 games ahead of the second place Philadelphia Phillies in their division. Taking a look at what happened in Tampa Bay, the Rays would go on to host the Blue Jays, and the Rays would beat the Blue Jays 5-2. After the Blue Jays would tie the game up at 2 in the top of the 8th, the Rays would score 3 in the bottom of that inning, led off by an RBI single from Manuel Margot to give them the lead. On the losing end of this matchup, the Toronto Blue Jays would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Kevin Gausman. Gausman would allow 4 runs off of 5 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He would strike out 8 batters and walk 1. With this loss, he's 3-2. In the Blue Jays batting lineup, their center fielder, Raimel Tapia, went 2 for 2 with an RBI and a run as he pinch hit. And he would be the only player on the team with more than 1 hit. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Tampa Bay Rays saw the start go to Drew Rasmussen. Drew Rasmussen would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He struck out a batter and walked 1. The win would go to the Rays setup relief pitcher at Andrew Kittredge. Kittredge would allow no earned runs in the 8th inning as he would strike out a batter. With his win, he's now 3-0. The Rays save would go to their closer, Jason Adam, and in this last inning, he would allow no earned runs in the 9th as he struck out a batter. He picked up his first save of the year. In the Rays batting lineup, their second baseman, Brandon Lau, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run, and their catcher, Mike Zunino, would go 2 for 3 with an RBI. With this win, the Tampa Bay Rays are now 20-13. That is the second best record in the American League East. They're the 4th team in the American League to cross the 20-win threshold. They've won their last 2 games. They've won 7 of their last 10. They are currently sitting 4.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. With this loss, the Toronto Blue Jays are 17-16. That is the 3rd best record in the American League East. They've lost their last 5 games. Their 5-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the American League. And it's currently tied with the Rockies for the longest active losing streak in the majors. They've lost 8 of their last 10. They're sitting 7.5 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees. Taking a look now at what's going on in Atlanta, the Atlanta Braves, the defending World Series champs, hosted the San Diego Padres, who are competing for one of the best records in the National League as of right now. In this matchup, the Padres will go on to beat the Braves 11-6 after scoring 7 unanswered following the Braves' 4-run surge in the 6th. The Padres were trailing 6-4 at one point. They would take the lead on a 3-run home run at the top of the 7th from Ha-Seong Kim, and then they would score, of course, 4 runs after that to finish the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown defending World Series champs Atlanta Braves were led out by their starting pitcher and former All-MLB pitcher Max Fried. Fried allowed 4 earned runs off of 9 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 2. The loss would go to the Braves' first relief pitcher, Will Smith. Smith would pick up his first blown save of the year as he allowed 3 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 7th inning. He would strike out a batter. With this loss, he's 0-1. In the Braves batting lineup, their right fielder Travis Demeritte would end up going 3 for 3 with 2 walks on the day. Their elite second baseman Ozzie Albies went 2 for 5 with a run. Their center fielder Adam Duvall went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. Their designated hitter William Contreras went 2 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. He hit his 4th home run of the season. The Braves shortstop Dansby Swanson went 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and a run. Swanson hit his 3rd home run of the season. On the winning end of this matchup, the San Diego Padres were led out by their elite starting pitcher Yu Darvish from Japan. Darvish allowed 5 earned runs off of 9 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 1. The win would go to the Padres' second relief pitcher on the day, Luis Garcia. He allowed no earned runs off of 1 hit as he pitched the entire 7th. With this win, he's now 1-2. The save would go to the Padres' closer, Taylor Rogers. He allowed no earned runs as he finished off the 8th and pitched the entire 9th inning. He would strike out 2 batters and walk 1. This is save number 13 on the season for him. In the Padres batting lineup, their first baseman, Eric Hosmer, went 3 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Their designated hitter Luke Voit went 2 for 5 with a run. Their right fielder Will Myers would end up going 3 for 5 as he had 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his first home run of the season. Their shortstop Ha-Seong Kim went 3 for 5 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs. As his go-ahead home run was his 4th home run of the season. And with this win, the San Diego Padres are 21-12. That is currently the second best record in the National League West. They are sitting even with the Dodgers as they have 1 more win and 1 more loss than the Dodgers. So the Dodgers have the win percentage edge. They sit half a game ahead of the 3rd place San Francisco Giants. With this loss, the defending champs Atlanta Braves are 15-18. That is the 3rd best record in the National League East as they've lost 5 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 6.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets as they have about 5 months left in their season. Taking a look at what happened in Arlington, the Rangers hosted the Boston Red Sox. The Red Sox would end up beating the Rangers 7-1 as they scored the first 7 runs of the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Rangers saw the loss go to their starting pitcher Dane Dunning. Dunning allowed 5 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 2. With this loss, Dane Dunning is 1-2 on the year. In the Rangers batting lineup, their right fielder Cole Calhoun went 3 for 4 with a run. On the winning end of this matchup, the Boston Red Sox saw the win go to their starting pitcher Nick Pivetta. Pivetta allowed 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 7 innings he pitched. He struck out 4 batters and walked 1. With this win, he's now 1-4. In the Red Sox batting lineup, their elite designated hitter, J.D. Martinez, went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their elite shortstop, Xander Bogaerts, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. And with this win, the Boston Red Sox are 12-20. That is the worst record in the American League East. They've won 3 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 12 games behind the division-leading New York Yankees at this moment. Only the Royals and the Tigers have worse records than the Red Sox in the American League. With this loss, the Texas Rangers are 13-8. That is the 4th best record in the American League West, win percentage-wise, as they have the least amount of wins in their division. They've lost 4 of their last 10 as they sit 8 games behind the division-leading Houston Astros. Taking a look at what happened in Minneapolis, the Twins hosted the Cleveland Guardians and would pull off a 12-8 win thanks to a 9-run 5th inning. And of course, in this matchup, they would see a 3-run home run from Gary Sanchez and a grand slam from Royce Lewis. On the losing end of this matchup, the Cleveland Guardians would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Aaron Civale. Civale allowed 6 earned runs off of 7 hits as he was pulled in the 5th inning. He would strike out 5 batters and walk 2, and with this loss, he's 1-3. In the Guardians batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Jose Ramirez, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and a run. Their shortstop, Ahmed Rosario, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. Their right fielder, Oscar Mercado, went 2 for 5 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 4th home run of the year. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Minnesota Twins were led out by their starting pitcher, Sonny Gray. He would allow 2 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 4.1 innings he pitched. He struck out 8 batters and walked 4. The win would go to the Twins' first relief pitcher, Griffin Jax. Jax allowed 4 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 2.1 innings he pitched. He would strike out a batter and walk 3. With this win, he's now 3-0. In the Twins batting lineup, their right fielder, Max Kepler, went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. Not to mention their designated hitter, Gary Sanchez, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run. He hit his 2nd home run of the year. There's catcher in this matchup, Ryan Jeffers, would end up going 2 for 3 with 2 runs. Not to mention their shortstop in this matchup, Royce Lewis, went 2 for 4 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 1st home run of the year. That was the grand slam. With this win, the Minnesota Twins are 19-14. That is the best record in the American League Central. They are currently holding on to the 5th best record in the American League as they sit behind the Yankees, the Braves, the Astros, and the Angels at this point in the year. They have now won 5 of their last 10. They are now sitting 3 games ahead of the 2nd place Chicago White Sox and Cleveland Guardians within their division. With this loss, the Guardians are 15-16. They are tied with the Chicago White Sox for the 2nd best record in their division. They've lost their last 2 games and they've lost 4 of their last 10. They are sitting 3 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins at this point in the year. And then taking a look at what happened in Chicago, the White Sox hosted the New York Yankees. The Yankees would end up beating the White Sox 10-4, as the Yankees would not give the White Sox an opportunity to really take a lead as they scored the first 6 runs of the game. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown Chicago White Sox saw the loss go to their starting pitcher, Vince Velasquez. Velasquez allowed 7 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 3. With this loss, Vince Velasquez is 2-3. In the White Sox batting lineup, their center fielder, Luis Robert, went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their designated hitter, Gavin Sheets, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run as he hit his 4th home run of the year. On the winning end of this matchup, the New York Yankees saw the win go to their elite starting pitcher, Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole would allow 3 earned runs off of 6 hits in the 6.1 innings he pitched. He would strike out 9 batters and walk 1. With this win, he's now 3-0. In the Yankees batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Aaron Judge, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and 3 runs. He hit his 12th home run of the season. Their third baseman, Josh Donaldson, former American League MVP, went 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs and a run as he hit his 4th home run of the year. Their elite designated hitter and former National League MVP, Giancarlo Stanton, went 2 for 4 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 10th home run of the season. Their elite second baseman, Gleyber Torres, went 2 for 5. Their left fielder and former Gold Glove winner, Joey Gallo, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run as he hit his 4th home run of the year. Their shortstop, Isaiah Kiner Falefa, went 2 for 3 with an RBI and a run as well. With this win, the New York Yankees are 24-8. That is the best record in the American League East and, of course, the best record in the MLB. They are the only team that still has a single-digit amount of losses at this point. They have now won their last 5 games, and they've won 8 of their last 10. They are sitting 4.5 games ahead of the second-place Tampa Bay Rays in their division. With this loss, the Chicago White Sox are 15-16. They are tied with the Cleveland Guardians for the second-best record in the American League Central. The White Sox have lost their last 2 games, and they've lost 3 of their last 10. They are sitting 3 games behind the division-leading Twins. Taking a look at what happened in St. Louis, the Cardinals went on to host the San Francisco Giants. The Giants would end up beating the Cardinals 8-2 after the Cardinals took the first lead of the game. The Giants were tied up in the second off of a Luis Gonzalez single, and they took the lead off of a 2-run double from Mike Yastrzemski in the third, and they just ran away with it. They even had 5 runs in the 8th. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown St. Louis Cardinals would see the loss go to their starting pitcher, Jordan Hicks. Jordan Hicks would allow 3 earned runs off of 3 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and he walked 2. He picked up loss number 3 as well. He is now 1-3 on the season. In the Cardinals batting lineup, their elite first baseman, Paul Goldschmidt, went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 3rd home run of the year. Their shortstop in this matchup, Brendan Donovan, would end up going 2 for 2. On the winning end of this matchup, the San Francisco Giants win would go to their starting pitcher, Logan Webb. Webb would allow 1 earned run off of 3 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out a batter and walk 3. With this win, he's now 5-1. In the Giants batting lineup, their left fielder, Luis Gonzalez, went 2 for 3 with an RBI. And with this win, the San Francisco Giants are now 20-12. That is now the 3rd best record in the National League West. They have now won their last 6 games. Their 6-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the National League. And only the Houston Astros have a longer winning streak than them in the major leagues. The Giants have won 6 of their last 10. They're sitting half a game behind the division-leading LA Dodgers and the runner-up San Diego Padres for the moment. With this loss, the St. Louis Cardinals are 17-15. That is the 2nd-best record in the NL Central. They have now lost their last 2 games. They've lost 6 of their last 10. They are now sitting 3.5 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers in the Central. Taking a look at what happened in the Mile High City, there was a 24-run barrage as the Royals beat the Rockies 14-10. It looks as though the Royals would get a lead. The Rockies would go on to take the lead in the 2nd. The Royals would take the lead right back in the 3rd. The Rockies would get it close, but the Royals would really kind of run away with it. On the losing end of this matchup, the loss would go to the Royals starting pitcher, Kyle Freeland. Kyle Freeland would allow 8 runs off of 12 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He would walk 2 batters as he was unable to strike out any batters he was unable to strike out a batter. With this loss, he's 1-4. In the Rockies batting lineup, their first baseman, CJ Cron, went 3 for 5 with a run. Their third baseman, Ryan McMahon, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and a run. And then their second baseman, Brendan Rodgers, would end up going 3 for 5 with 4 RBIs and 2 runs. He would go on to hit 2 doubles on the day and his 2nd home run of the year. And then the Rockies left fielder, Sam Hilliard, would go 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. He hit his 1st home run of the year. On the winning end of this matchup, the Kansas City Royals were led out by Zach Greinke. Greinke would allow 7 runs off of 8 hits in the 4.2 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters. The win would go to the Royals' first relief pitcher on the day, Dylan Coleman. He allowed no earned runs as he pitched 1 inning, finishing off the 5th. He would go on to walk 2 batters, and with this win, he's 1-1. The save would go to the Royals' closer, Scott Barlow. Barlow allowed no earned runs as he finished off the 8th and pitched the entire 9th. He would strike out a batter, and he would pick up his 3rd save of the year. In the Royals batting lineup, their elite right fielder, Whit Merrifield, went 2 for 6 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. Their left fielder, Andrew Benintendi, went 3 for 6 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs as he hit his 2nd home run of the year. Their first baseman, Hunter Dozier, went 5 for 5 with an RBI and 4 runs. And then their center fielder, Michael Taylor, went 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and a run. With this win, the Kansas City Royals are 11-19. That is the 4th best record in the American League Central. They've won 4 of their last 10 games. They are sitting 6.5 games behind the division-leading Minnesota Twins. With this loss, the Colorado Rockies are now 16-16. That is the worst record in the National League West, as they've now lost their last 5 games. Their 5-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the National League, and it is the longest active losing streak in the majors as of right now. The Rockies have lost 7 of their last 10. They're sitting 4.5 games behind the division-leading LA Dodgers and San Diego Padres. So taking a look at what happened in Phoenix, the Arizona Diamondbacks would host the Chicago Cubs. The Diamondbacks would end up beating the Cubs 4-3. The score was tied at 3. The tie was broken in the bottom of the 4th off of a wild pitch by Drew Smyly that would lead Josh Rojas to the plate. On the losing end of this matchup, the Chicago Cubs will see the loss go to Drew Smyly, their starting pitcher. He allowed 4 earned runs off of 10 hits in the 6 innings that he pitched, as he struck out 4 and walked 1. With this loss, he's 1-4. In the Cubs batting lineup, their designated hitter, Frank Schwindel, went 2 for 4. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Arizona Diamondbacks saw the win go to their starting pitcher, Zach Davies. Davies would allow 3 earned runs off of 4 hits in the 5.2 innings he pitched. He struck out 6 batters and walked 2. He would go on to pick up his second win of the season. He's now 2-1. The save would end up going to the Diamondbacks closer, Mark Melancon. He allowed no earned runs in the 9th inning. He would pick up his 7th save of the year. In the Diamondbacks batting lineup, their second baseman, Ketel Marte, went 3 for 4 with an RBI and a run. Their first baseman, CJ Walker, went 2 for 4 with an RBI and a run as well. And then their shortstop, Gerardo Perdomo, went 3 for 4. With this win, the Arizona Diamondbacks are 18-15. That is the 4th best record in the National League West. They've won 8 of their last 10 games, and they've now sit 3 games behind the division-leading Dodgers and Padres. With this loss, the Chicago Cubs are now 11-20. They've now lost 7 of their last 10. They're sitting 9 games behind the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers. Taking a look at what's going on in Oakland, the Oakland Athletics hosted the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels would end up beating the A's 2-0, holding the A's to only 2 hits all game. On the losing end of this matchup, on the home side, the A's were led out by their starting pitcher, Dalton Jeffries. Dalton Jeffries allowed 2 earned runs off of 5 hits in the 6 innings he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk none, and with this loss, he's 1-6. In the A's batting lineup, the only player that would register a hit was their shortstop, Elvis Andrus, as he would end up going 2 for 3. On the winning end of this matchup, the LA Angels will see the win go to their starting pitcher, Chase Silseth. Silseth would allow no earned runs and only 1 hit in the 6 innings that he pitched. He would strike out 4 batters and walk 2. With this win, Silseth is 1-0, and the save would go to the Angels' former All-Star closer, Raisel Iglesias. Iglesias would go on to allow no earned runs in the 9th inning as he struck out a batter. He would pick up his 8th save of the year. In the Angels batting lineup, their elite third baseman, Anthony Rendon, went 2 for 4 with a run. He was the only player with a multi-hit game, and with this win, the Los Angeles Angels are 22-12. That is the 2nd best record in the American League West. They've won 7 of their last 10. They are sitting half a game behind the division-leading Houston Astros at the moment. With this loss, the hometown Oakland Athletics are now 14-20. That is the worst record in the American League West win percentage wise, as they have 2 more losses and one more win than the Texas Rangers at this point. They've lost 6 of their last 10 games, as they sit 8.5 games behind the division leading Houston Astros. Taking a look at what is going on in Los Angeles, the LA Dodgers hosted the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies would end up beating the Dodgers 12-10. The Dodgers would end up tying the game in the bottom of the 9th to send it into extras off of a 2-run home run from Justin Turner. Nick Castellanos would hit a 2-run double, and then, of course, a stolen base would lead to Nick Castellanos scoring. And then the Dodgers would only be able to put up 1 run in the 10th, and the Phillies would run away with this win. On the losing end of this matchup, the hometown LA Dodgers would be led out by their starting pitcher, Walker Buehler. Buehler allowed 5 earned runs off of 9 hits in the 5 innings he pitched. He struck out 3 batters and walked 1. The loss would end up going to the Dodgers closer Brusdar Graterol. Graterol allowed 1 run off of 1 hit in the 10th inning. He would strike out a batter and walk 1. With his loss, he's 0-2. In the Dodgers batting lineup, their elite right fielder Mookie Betts went 2 for 6 with an RBI and a run. Their designated hitter, Justin Turner, went 2 for 5 with 4 RBIs and a run as he hit his second home run of the year. Their left fielder, Chris Taylor, went 2 for 5 with an RBI and 3 runs as he hit his second home run of the year. Their catcher, Austin Barnes, went 3 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs. On the winning end of this matchup, the Philadelphia Phillies would be led out by their starting pitcher, Kyle Gibson. Kyle Gibson would go on to allow 6 earned runs off of 8 hits in the 3.2 innings he pitched. He struck out a batter and walked 1. The win would end up going to the Phillies setup relief pitcher in this matchup, Jeurys Familia. Familia would allow 2 earned runs off of 2 hits in the 9th inning as he would strike out a batter. He would pick up his second blown save of the year, but with his win, he's 1-0. The save would end up going to the Phillies closer, Francisco Morales. Morales would allow 1 run in the 10th inning as he would go on to walk 3 batters. With this save, he now has 1 on the year. In the Phillies batting lineup, their third baseman, Alec Bohm, went 2 for 5. Their elite designated hitter and the reigning National League MVP, Bryce Harper, ended up going 3 for 4 with 2 RBIs and 2 runs. He hit his 8th home run of the season yesterday. Their elite right fielder, Nick Castellanos, went 2 for 6 with 3 RBIs and a run. Their center fielder, Odubel Herrera, went 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Their second baseman, Johan Camargo, went 2 for 5 with a run. And then their shortstop in this matchup, Bryson Stott, will go 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs and 2 runs. With this win, the Philadelphia Phillies are 16-17. That is the second best record in the National League East as they've won their last 3 games. And they are tied with the Reds for the second longest active winning streak in the National League. They've won 5 of their last 10 games. They are now sitting 5.5 games behind the division-leading New York Mets. With this loss, the LA Dodgers are now 20-11. That is the best record in the National League West, win percentage-wise. The only team that has a better record than the Dodgers, win percentage-wise, in the National League are the Mets. The Dodgers have now lost their last 3 games, and they've lost 4 of their last 10. Their 3-game losing streak is the second longest active losing streak in the National League, as the Rockies have a longer one. Sitting alongside the Padres, they are sitting half a game ahead of the third place San Francisco Giants. And then, of course, there's going to be a good amount of baseball going on today. And because there wasn't a lot of soccer going on yesterday, leading into what's going on today, starting off in England, we're going to see the FA Cup final between Chelsea and Liverpool, as that's going to be the big matchup taking place in Europe. But with that said, I want to thank the ESPN, the NBA, NHL, MLB, and FIFA sites for giving me all the facts and figures that I need. And I can't wait to get into what's going on today, as I do have 2 profiles to follow this one up. I want to thank everyone for listening. I want to thank you for your patience, because I still am behind at this point, but I will eventually catch up. Thanks for listening. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. Thanks for listening to my piece, and peace out.